What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony, Lori, and Mike, and we are discussing episode 3 of Hawkeye. For this episode, we are also doing something different. This is the first time that you guys will actually get to see us talk about the podcast. We've been talking about doing video podcasts for a while, and we just never did it. And we decided we were going to start with Hawkeye, and then we forgot when we recorded our first, the episode for 1 and 2. So that's okay. We're going to pick it up with 3. You can see me. I'm Hanako and Mike.
What's up? How you doing, guys?
And then that's Anthony.
Hello.
And Lori is blocked because due to the agreement that she has with her employer, she cannot show her face. So while you may not see her, you will definitely hear her. Hey, Lori.
Hello.
She's an international super spy. Super
Yeah,
spy.
I wish.
Okay, so we didn't get a chance to have Lori on the first episode where we discussed Hawkeye because it was Thanksgiving weekend. She was doing family stuff, so she's here. So, real briefly, Lori, I want to hear your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye.
Okay, I watched them over the weekend, and I really thought that Jeremy Renner sort of just phoned it in the first 2 episodes. I was really bored by him. The girl playing Kate Bishop, I liked the stuff with her as a kid. I love the Tracksuit Mafia. I thought it was really whiny for a while. It got better once they sort of gave us some parameters of where she is and how she became and what she's doing. I'm sort of in the middle, but this current episode was a lot better for me.
Okay.
But I just thought it was okay.
Okay. So, just to kind of recap, Mike loved it. Anthony was kind of like you. He was like, it was okay. Now, Mike did have the same comment as you about Jeremy Renner's performance. He was like, yeah, I kind of feel like he wasn't there. I had a different take on it because I kind of felt like he was doing what the character was doing. Like, we have to remember Clint is post in game, post losing his best friend. He just got his kids and wife back after, they've been gone for 5 years. He's dealing with PTSD. He's dealing with, hearing loss now. And I think he's just kind of in this shell shock stage right now. So that's kind of how I took it in that first episode. Like it wasn't necessarily Jeremy Renner, but that's how Clint is right now because Clint is still trying to wrap his brain around everything that happened. Um, the guys loved Kate Bishop. I at the current moment do not. She and you will hear
I
her
don't think
voice
I
a lot.
said I don't think I said love.
Well,
I said she
no.
was fine.
Okay.
She's fine.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, she not a fan. Not a fan. She
I
really
liked her
did.
for what she was. I mean, she was a college student and she acted like a college student. She was rich and privileged. She acted rich and privileged. I mean, and she was well trained in a lot of certain things, and she fought like she was well trained in certain things. So, I mean, she pretty much checked all the boxes. I wasn't expecting her to be like mature beyond her years. I expected her to kind of be like that, just kind of spoiled and like privileged and like entitled, and but still like kind of feeling, but still wanting to be something different. So I could see that. I understand your point of view. I understand your point of view, and I agree. I think she got on my nerves a lot too. But it's like I just kind of expected. I was like, okay, that's who she is. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I think I finished editing that episode today and it's posted now. But listening to it, I couldn't do anything but laugh because I think I probably should do a drinking game on how many times I said she irritated me or she bothered me. I think we could
Look,
make a
man, I got to
drinking
work
game.
tomorrow. We can't be doing all that. I can't be messed up like that. That's a lot.
I know. So let's get into this third episode. So I love the way the third episode started out because we got to see a little bit of background on Miss Maya Lopez, aka Echo. And we start out with her as a little girl, sitting in the classroom and she's there. And at first I couldn't quite I was trying to figure out if this, and I do this every time there's a character like this on TV, like when they actually put us in the mind or in the headspace of the character. So she's deaf. So they actually brought us into the episode not being able to hear anything because we were experiencing the world through her eyes. So at first I was kind of confused, and then I was like, when I saw her face, I was like, oh, because I thought it was Kate at first in the classroom, because we see the little pigtails just from behind. So when we turn around and I see her face, I'm like, that's not Kate. I said, that's got to be Echo. And so we get to see a little bit of her background. Her as a deaf student in a classroom where, I think it was obvious the kids and the teacher didn't know that she was deaf, right?
No,
Did
I
you
think the
guys?
teacher knew because the teacher, when she walked up to her desk, she like got her attention by tapping on her book. So she knew that she was hard of hearing. And she said something about her interpreter, like getting her saying, am I gonna have to get your interpreter, or am I gonna have to move you to a more specialized class?
Okay.
Then she noticed that she had been writing in her book and was doing good. So she was like, okay, whatever, and walked back to teach the class.
Okay. But yeah, so we basically get to see her experience what most young kids in that situation would. Classmates can't, she can't hear her classmates, she can't speak. So you see a conversation with her and her father, I'm assuming, that, where she's talking about, I thought we were going to send me to a deaf school. And her father's telling her, no, this is better for you. You'll learn more, and it'll help you understand the world more. You need to learn how to go between two worlds. And then we get to see her get a little bit older. We see her taking martial arts classes, and then we find out also here that she is an amputee. She has a prosthetic, so she's not only having to learn how to live with her deafness, but she's also having to, uh maneuver, walking with a prosthetic. And she's a little kid. We know kids can be mean, but thankfully we didn't see any of that typical bullying of the kid in this episode. So
Hey,
um
back to the conversation she had with her father.
mhm,
The what happened with Shang-Chi, doesn't that kind of give a different context to Are Dragons Real?
yeah.
He's like, well, they
Right.
they maybe.
Yeah,
How about yeah,
yeah,
they are.
because he did say something about that maybe they exist in another world. And
Hmm.
then she was like, well, what about if they come here? Like, well, about that.
About that.
Right. But of course that took place in like 2007. So this is way before Shang-Chi. Um so then we see her as as an adult, and she is she was in a boxing ring training. Now I will say that girl, she got some skills, cuz I was like, "Oh dude, she's about to land you on your ass." So we see her leave we see her leave the boxing ring. She comes back to her father's, I guess is the garage, and there's a commotion. You see bodies flying, you see, blood splattering on the windows, and then you see a hooded figure with a sword killing folks. And I was like, oh, hi Ronan. Yes, Mike. Are you really about to raise your hand?
We skipped a very important part, and I'm not going to let you skip by it.
Okay.
When she after the classroom scene, we went to the judo scene where she was observing and where she was learning karate,
Mm-hmm.
and her dad said she had to go, but
Oh,
her uncle would take her home.
yes.
Now, as I recall, yesterday, someone in this podcast suggested that Echo would be connected with a certain
You did.
Mr. Fisk.
You did.
And then lo and behold, there's a Natalie, very nicely dressed large gentleman who grabs her by her cheek and laughs. And I'm like,
I knew that voice.
It sounded like Vincent D'Onofrio.
it was
Mhm.
100% just
It sounded like him.
It did, because
Kingpin confirmed. Mike wins again.
when I saw it, I was like, "Is that him?" And then when he did that laugh, and did he say something, or was it just the
Oh, he
laugh?
just laughed.
Okay, but yeah, I was like, "Oh, wait, did they? Uh, are they? What?" I was like, "Oh yeah, Mike's gonna be talking about this one tonight." So yeah, and as you can
Yes.
see by Anthony's
I
screen
mean,
name, Uncle Wilson.
Uncle
yes.
Wilson.
I saw that as soon I was watching at work. When I saw that, I was like, yes, I knew it. But I mean, it's kind of a foregone conclusion because, like I said in our last episode, Echo is is directly linked to Kingpin.
Mhm.
Like like if you have one, like if Echo is going to be in there, there's literally 100% chance that Kingpin's going to show up at some point. There's no way that he was not going to show up. I mean, that
But
because
let's
that's
let's not jump the gun. You know, let's rein our horses in.
Oh wait,
nope,
there's a
nope,
way we can
nope.
confirm this. Michael, did you go look at IMDb yet?
I'd not look at IMDb. As a matter of fact, I can go look right now. I can look right now.
No, because
But
we
the thing,
know, well, we know that Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be in the MCU, right? So
yes,
it's not a stretch to go ahead and put him in the show. But that doesn't mean all those other people that you listed are going to show up.
You know
Let's
what?
let's
We're
not
only in
confirm
episode
everybody.
3. He still has
oh,
room.
I am full of theories now. I got like 5 more theories after that. My confidence is high right now. I literally think, shoot, I think that the little black boy and the little black boy doing karate is Luke Cage. I am all in on every last one of my theories. I'm going full bore on everything right now. I don't care. I was right about, look, that this is what happens when I'm right about things. When I'm right about one thing, I just like go off and just
So what we need to do is we need to make a checklist for Mike, like all of Mike's theories, and then as they come, we can like check them or we can X them. Nope. And I think I feel a
that's
little
fine.
more comfortable with
Hey,
it, with doing it now, because as we've seen, as the Marvel shows keep coming, we're starting to see them pull. And I remember way back in, was it WandaVision, when Anthony was like, they are not going to do anything that's going to make these TV products connect to the movies, because the people who are movie fans are not going to watch these, or the people who are
That
movie fans will watch the shows, but the people who watch the shows aren't necessarily going to be the movie fans. And
that's not exactly what I said.
what did you
I
say?
said they're not going to do anything so drastic as to have people watch the shows in order to understand what's going on in the movies.
But now they do. I mean, especially with Loki, like you have to now.
Well, not necessarily because
Yes,
they
you
killed.
do. Yes, you do. Loki broke the mold.
We're not
We're
going to
not
do
gonna have
this
this
right now.
conversation again.
No,
We're not.
we're not
Okay,
going to do this right
we're
now.
gonna focus. We're gonna focus. We're gonna focus. Mike,
no,
did
we're
you
not.
find
No,
him
no,
on IMDb?
we're going full bore on this. And FYI, no, Vincent D'Onofrio is not listed anywhere on IMDb.
So
Doesn't mean it was him. Doesn't mean it wasn't him.
right.
But in my mind, in my perfect world right now, it's 100% him. They might as well just show his face and got it over with.
Okay,
Because
so we'll just go with that. We'll go with that. So let's see. Let's talk. So since we started with Miss Maya Lopez, let's go into the current day where they have Hawkeye and Kate strapped to these what is it, the little grocery store rides, the little horsey you stick a quarter in and gives you a ride. Apparently they've been on these things for a while, because they both look very irritated with their circumstances right now. And of course,
that's
uh
hilarious.
Clint is really irritated because Kate is like, yeah, I was coming in here, you look like you needed my help, and I was coming to help you. And he was like, I was just about to clear your name from the Ronin suit. And she's like, oh, he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, here she goes, messing stuff up again. But I will say, I watched this episode and she didn't annoy me as much. And my oldest daughter was downstairs with me tonight, because my younger daughter was using the office to do her class. So Michaela's not really into like the Marvel stuff. She's not into superheroes, but she sat downstairs, she watched it with me, and she was like, the reason why she didn't bother you this much? She said, because his hearing aid was not in his ears, so you couldn't hear her just like he couldn't hear her. I said, oh, is that what it was? I couldn't really hear her. So she didn't irritate me as much. But no, even with the hearing aid in and the stuff that we could hear that he couldn't, she wasn't as bad in this episode. It's kind of like, I feel like her being in that situation at the beginning, and then of course you got the guns and everything. She's just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm finding myself in these situations a lot in the last couple of days. So maybe I just need to kind of chill. Now she didn't chill all the way, but she was a little bit more manageable, I think is the word.
Mhm.
So, but I don't know if I will go so far as to say that she's like the best archer in the world, but she showed her skills. I was impressed with her in this episode. She still didn't beat Hawkeye because he was a badass in this episode. He showed us why he was a badass, and he showed why he was one of my favorite characters because again, I was like, look at the skills. Look at his archery skills. I mean, he got out of the little trap. He fought the people. He evaded them, and then when him and Echo started fighting, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." But
And falling backwards, he shot an arrow through the masking tape on her arm. That was impressive. I was like, okay, that's skilled. Yeah.
I mean, just the way and we've talked about movies and TV shows enough. Everybody knows I like gunslingers and I like archers. And again, one of the reasons why I like Hawkeye's character, I just love the way he moves with the bow and arrow. Like when he was fighting, the tracksuit, what are the tracksuit
Mafia.
mafia? Yeah. When he was fighting them, just the way he's, grabbing the bow and he's just shooting off and it just flowed so smoothly. I was like, this is why he is Hawkeye. I
it it
loved it.
it made me miss Arrow for one hot minute. Mainly because my disappointment with Arrow is that even though he did a few trick shots, he did mostly fighting. And I always thought that when you're an archer based character, your main thing should be your archery. So I really enjoyed it. The other thing that I did enjoy more about Kate this episode is it's not that she was less whiny. I think that they showed the character really understanding that she really is in some deep trouble and that it might be good for her to keep her mouth shut a little bit.
Yeah.
So I like that part.
Yeah. And we got to see a little bit of her like okay, yes, her character is a college student. She's spoiled, she's entitled, whatever. Okay, the whole college student excuse doesn't fly with me because my daughter is 23. So I'm like, okay. And I have two girls, in that age range. My oldest daughter is 25. I'm like, yeah, they never do stupid stuff like that. So the college excuse, we're not gonna fly with that. But she has a
No,
lot of
no,
other stuff.
no. They may have done some stupid stuff. You don't know anything about
Yeah, everybody knows about her stupid stuff. That's what I'm saying. That's my point exactly. Like she just again, she's chaotic. But in this episode, we also saw that she can focus and she can get the job done when she needs to. And then she also has a heart. The whole thing with the conversation with Nathaniel when Hawkeye couldn't hear, when Clint couldn't hear what Nathaniel was saying to him, and she was kind of writing it down for him so that he could have this conversation with his son. I that kind of made me, more endeared to her character because I was like, she doesn't really have to do that. It's like that
it.
was the one time that she really paid attention to, oh my God, he really can't hear and this is bothering him because the whole car chase, she's sitting there talking to him about the arrows and stuff. And my daughter was like, what part of I can't hear you does she not understand? And like I told her, I said, well, we have to look at it this way for us, Clint's deafness is a new thing. And I think for him as well, it might be a newish thing. Now, my younger daughter says that for some people, it's always been assumed that Clint was deaf in the MCU. He just didn't wear a hearing aid. And I'm like, okay, I could kind of see that, but didn't Clint wear like comms? And he
Yeah,
was
he had
able to
comms
hear.
on.
Yeah. And then of course with the flashbacks that we saw in the first episode or in the second episode where she asked him how he lost his hearing, and you see the flashbacks from specific movies, and he's like, could have been anything. I think that this deafness is a new thing for him. So it's kind of like, okay, she's not thinking about it either because nobody knows that Hawkeye is deaf or hard of hearing, as he says. He has hearing loss. He's not deaf. But so to see her be able to like translate that conversation for him and just kind of, I think that kind of showed her the weight of what he was dealing with, because she was all goofy and stuff. And like I said in the last episode, he told her not to call him unless it was an emergency. And she's texting him, "Do you miss me?" and all this childish stuff. I think in this episode, you got to see, okay, you know what? I need to be a little bit more mature, because this man is giving up a lot of stuff to help me get out of the mess that I've put myself in. And granted, she didn't do it on purpose. I will acknowledge that. She didn't take the suit on purpose. Like, she didn't take the suit saying, "Oh, I'm going to be Ronin." She was just trying to keep people from knowing she was down in their auction. And it just kind of spiraled out of control. So I think this episode really showed her just kind of taking stock of, okay, you know what? Like Lori said, I'm in some deep shit. Maybe I need to focus and be a little bit more serious so that I can get out of this trouble and this man can go back to his family and not be disappointed. Because when he was talking to Nathaniel, I was about to cry, because you could see it in his face, you could hear it in his voice, that he would rather be where his children are as opposed to in that apartment, you know? But
I thought her conversation with the Tracksuit Mafia guy about, wait, this was our second conversation about dragons.
I
Imagine
know.
dragons. I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't have a theory. I'm not trying to
Yes, you do.
seed any of
Yes, you do.
Mike's
Give me
theories.
that.
I really don't. But
Yes, yeah,
again,
you
we're
do.
talking about dragons again. Just saying. But it was an interesting conversation. It was funny.
it was funny, because here you are, you're supposed to be one of the bad men that's holding them hostage, and you're having a conversation with your girlfriend. She was like, "You good?" She's the only person who asked him if he was okay. Like, when she said, "You good?" he turned to look at the other people. They're playing cards, they're walking around. Nobody's paying him any attention. And it was so funny, because he was like, "So I bought these Imagine Dragons tickets for my girlfriend, right?" And he starts going into the whole story. She was like, "You both are in the wrong. You both need to apologize. You got to get this done." And he's just like, "Oh, okay." And Hawkeye's looking at her like, "Really?" And she's like, "You got to build some trust." That conversation had me rolling, because I was like,
That
he's
was
listening
awesome.
to a little girl tell him about his relationship. And at the same time, like, you're supposed to be mean to her because y'all are holding her hostage. And when she asks about you, you're just like, "Man, she cares about me more than y'all. Yeah, let me tell you what happened." That conversation was so funny. It was. But the other thing that I like about the Tracksuit Mafia, and I think we talked about this in the last episode. So they're supposed to be like this big dangerous gang, right? And they are full of buffoons. It is just so funny to me that, like, it reminds me of, so my girls have me watching this K drama right now called Vincenzo. And it's about a guy, it's about a Chinese guy who is, or excuse me, a Korean guy who was raised by the leader of an Italian mafia. And he's the consigliere for this mafia. Anyway, some of the people that he deals with in this show, like, there's a intelligence agent, and somebody, a couple of other people who have experience fighting, but they play dumb. It's so weird, because I'm like, how am I supposed to take this seriously when you have these clowns over here acting? But I felt the same way watching this, these Tracksuit Mafia guys. It's like, you guys don't seem to be scary. Like, this is Hawkeye. He fought with the Avengers. He fought off the Chitauri. He fought against Thanos. Like, how am I supposed to believe that y'all are a real threat to him? Now, Maya, on the other hand, that girl is
Yeah.
dangerous. And
Yeah, I
she,
think I think the Tracksuit Mafia is a caricature, just like Jacques.
Doc,
Um,
Jack Duquesne.
I'm sorry, Jack Duquesne. They're just they're the
They're hench
tracksuit.
they're henchmen. It's just like the Hand, and it's just like the Foot Clan in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's just like Putties and Teenage in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's like They're all just there to take punches and fall down dramatically. That's all they're there for, basically. And it's like, also, I was thinking after we finished talking about Jack, about Jack and Jacques or whatever, about swordsman, I was thinking about I reminded me of, yeah, I know y'all remember Tennessee Tuxedo. It was like a cartoon back in the day that came on after school. And it's like they had someone on there called Savoir Faire. It's like he used to say, Savoir Faire is everywhere. And like he was like real quick, they're always chasing and stuff.
I do remember that.
That's what Jacques Dufresne reminds me of. It's like I feel like he's just gonna like start twirling his mustache and doing like weird stuff with a saber, and
His mustache bothers me.
his mustache bothers everybody. It's like I've listened to, it's like everything I've seen about episodes 1 and 2, everybody talks about his mustache. They were like, that is a terrible mustache. It's like people, I think someone said it's looking through my soul. Like I wish it like like it had a mind of its own. It's like the more I look at him, I'm like, yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? It's like it kind of shifts when you look at it too long. It like goes to the left and to the right. You're like, ah.
It's like one of those things you look at it. It's I'm trying to remember, what was it? Oh, Robin Hood Men in Tights. You remember the sheriff of Rottingham and his mole that kept moving?
They kept moving.
I kind of feel like that about his mustache. Like I'm expecting that shit to move any minute. I feel like it's not actually his real mustache. Like he's just it's just there for show. But it's
like one episode is gonna be upside down. One episode is gonna be like on his chin instead of his lip. It's just gonna be like moving around like Ray J's hat.
Why you gotta bring Ray J into this?
It's the same thing. I'm glad y'all got it, because I was like, I don't know if they're gonna. Yeah, they'll get it. They're gonna get it.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh man.
So now, one thing I do want to say about this fight between Clint and Maya. I don't know if it was just to show us that Maya was a more superior fighter, or if it was supposed to give us a chance to like really focus on Clint's archery skills. But when she was fighting, I felt like he wasn't trying to fight her back.
He wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't. No.
Okay.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
When you think about what he did as Ronin,
Yeah.
and having to be the person to take down Natalie, you know his skills are pretty high.
Yeah. Right.
And you know you can tell I don't want to say he was throwing punches, but he just wasn't on offense
I
like
felt like he was
normally
holding
would be.
back. Yeah.
He was definitely on defense the whole time.
Yeah, it was really weird. But then once he got the bow and arrows, I was like, oh, this is the Clint I remember, because he was like, I'm sitting here watching it in the background when he jumps over the little balcony, and he's literally flying through the air, and he shoots, and like you said, he frees Kate, and then he starts shooting. I mean, it's like poetry in motion watching him with that bow and arrow. And I was like, this is the Clint I remember. What was that he was doing before? And I was like, okay, he's holding back his punches. And I was just trying to figure out, I was like, okay, so does he know who Maya is, or why she's looking for the Ronin? I mean, obviously she's looking for him because Ronin probably killed somebody close to her. I'm sure he figured that much out. But I'm just wondering, like, is he aware of who she is, especially with her uncle? Like, does he know who
No. Because he said there has to be someone above her. Like he doesn't know what it is.
Mike, you want to go, or do you want me to go on this one?
You go because yes, you go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, a quick little comic book background on Maya Lopez. She's Native American. Her father, who was killed, is Charlie Whitehorse, and she is a death. She's also a genius, but she also is primarily a daredevil character. villain,
Mhm.
and she also is a member of the Hand, and she also at one point in time joins the Avengers. Her uncle is also a Daredevil and Spider-Man villain, and he basically raises her until she realizes that something with him isn't right. They go back and forth. They have this huge long history. In the comic book, her costume is basically like a ninja costume, but she has a signature white handprint across her face, sort of like the same we saw on the episode with her father going across. Only it's white, not red.
Okay.
She has a love affair with Daredevil that's very very complicated, and she actually gets kind of miffed at him at one point, and they break up because she finds out that he's dating someone who's actually blind also, and that sort of makes her very upset because she thinks that, well, am I not enough? She goes crazy. She dies a few times, and basically she's now on the side of angels. How's that like?
Very nice. Did you mentioned the fact that she was actually Ronin for a minute?
Yes. Oh no, you're right. Yes, she was running for a while. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a theory. So we're all seen the scene where she comes in and she sees Ronin beating everybody up. Now I'm working under the premise that I'm right about Uncle being Uncle Wilson Fisk.
Mhm.
So we know that Wilson Fisk is someone who doesn't like he doesn't take treachery, or if he's in doubt about you, like, or if see, he thinks something's wrong, he takes care of
Mhm.
things, right? So what I'm thinking is, what from what I'm gathering, all this has happened after from what it's showing, it's happened. This would have had everything happened after the Netflix series would have happened. Like all this is post that because it's after the blip and everything. So what I'm thinking is, so it's after the blip. Um, he's already Ronan is already like doing his thing. Maybe he's already gone to Japan. Wilson suspects her father of doing something shady. So he's like, well, man, I probably need to get taken care of, but I don't want it coming back to me. I could use Ronan, but I don't know who he is. But I do know somebody who is an expert killer, doesn't miss. This is my wildest theory. This is probably my wildest theory ever. I think that he got Bullseye to dress up as Ronin and kill her father.
Stop that face, Anthony. Oh, but I like that though.
I
I
mean,
like
it's
that.
like it's like because Ronin was probably, when you think about it, it's like he could be. It's like how hard would it be to get a black suit that looks like Ronin for Wilson Fisk? Not hard at all. How hard would it be for him to get the weapons that he uses? Again, not hard at all. He's Wilson Fisk. He can get whatever the hell he wants to, whatever the hell he needs to get. So all he has to do is get Bullseye out of jail, convince him that all's forgiven. I need your help on do something, and da da da. Da. So he does it.
What you think about that
It's a
theory, Anthony?
It's a theory. So, it's a theory.
I mean, it's,
I
it's
mean,
it's wild, but it's like it's something that just kind of occurred to me. I was just like, you know, I mean, it could be, it could not be,
Mm.
but it just kind of made sense. Like if Clint didn't remember her right off, like if he didn't like see her out the corner of his eye, because Clint has a pretty good memory. Clint doesn't
Mhm.
forget things easily. If she was there at any point, he would have noticed her.
That's what
I
I
think.
thought too when we saw that flashback of him fighting everyone, and when he stabs her father, he runs out and she literally runs in right behind him, like he's still in the building when she
Hmm.
runs into her father. So I thought that was weird
well, I
too.
thought he
I was
was
like,
jumping out the window as she ran in.
was he? Probably
Yeah,
so.
Well, he
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 And
was.
he stabbed her father, then he dashed off screen. Wherever he went, he dashed off screen. He went somewhere else. But
I wonder. But
I'm just
yeah,
saying.
so I was like, I thought about it. I was like, so did he just ignore her, or and I'm okay, I have it in the background. So he's stabbing the people, she's coming in the building, and oh, here's the thing. Okay, so this is the thing. She kicked the door in order
Hmm.
to get in because it was locked. You know he had to have heard that. I mean, I know he was in there like killing other people and throwing folks.
He's also hard of hearing.
Well, we don't know if he is at that point
He
because
probably is. He
again,
probably
think
is a
about it.
little
He
In
hard of hearing.
Endgame,
probably is.
think about it. In Endgame, we didn't see him with, the we didn't see him with a hearing aid, um, and he didn't have the hearing aid, but he could hear what everybody was saying around him. So I don't think he was in. I don't think his hearing loss was that severe during that time.
I mean, he did have comms in though.
Yeah. So and like I said, the whole of Endgame took place after his time as Ronin because Natasha had already found him, brought him back, because she
Right.
was like, we have a way to bring in everybody back. You never see him with a hearing aid in Endgame, and he's having conversations with everybody, you know, with no problems. So, yeah.
See, Mike, you have me freeze framing. This is what I don't like. I'm stopping
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
No, I'm not gonna do
This
it.
is awesome. See, this is see, ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing history right now. He said he would never do this, and he's doing it right now. See,
But you
this is
did
all because of you.
Because you're
Thank you,
wrong.
viewers. I
This is
appreciate
not. This is not bullseye.
you.
It's not.
I'm gonna have to side with Anthony on this one. I don't think it's bullseye either. I think that it's gonna probably fall in, which I'm not saying. I think it's gonna fall in line more along with the comic book background from her side. I also think that if they were gonna have bullseye in that type of capacity, I think that they would have shown us a scene where he's either removing a hood or he's taking off of a domino mask or something, because that would be a whole new dynamic. But see, you have to watch the Netflix series in order to really get the gist of some of these shows, like the Daredevil season 3, a little bit of Iron Fist, Jessica Jones. You have to watch those to get a mindset, because where Wilson Fisk is in those series and where he is now is really, really different, because a lot has happened to him, especially in the Daredevil season 3, that would affect this, because Echo is one of those characters where she's pretty high up there as far as villain slash turn hero slash villain turn slash hero again, enough that if they do follow through, you would see him on screen. That's just my take.
Okay, well, okay. If not him, then how about it? How about it being Jack? He's
No,
a
I think
swordsman.
Yeah, no, because there is was it Jack of Hearts? Yeah, there is a Marvel character called Jack of Hearts who is proficient in weapons, particularly swords. So
No,
it could be.
I'm talking about Jacques.
He's talking
I'm
about
talking about
Jacques
I'm talking about
Duquesne.
savoir faire. Jacques Dufresne.
Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Well, the only thing I'm gonna say, Mike, is I can't tell if that's his sword or not. It actually looks like a regular katana. It doesn't look like. It doesn't
That's
look like
that's
I
okay.
one of
think
his
Keep
swords.
still
frame,
on
If
your
that's his
rewind it
sword.
and freeze frame it again
I'm
and look
done.
closer.
I'm done. I'm done. We need to move on. We need to move on, Hanukkah. We need to move on. I'm done. I'm not freeze framing anymore.
Oh,
This is not fair. No, not fair at
How is
all.
this not fair?
Not fair at
I
all.
literally just gave a theory. I didn't encourage you. I just said
It's
what I
a
thought.
theory. That's right. A theory.
It was a theory. It was 100% a theory. I admit it. That was awesome.
Clint trying to sign or trying to show Echo that he does not know as much sign language as she thinks he does, saying more cookies, please.
That was awesome. That was funny as shit.
Like, okay, he's
Yeah,
still
because that's just like knowing like just enough Spanish to get out of the airport in Mexico. You're like, "Donde está el hotel?"
mm.
Is basically what it is. And the way she rolled her eyes at him was like,
Yeah, because she's what was it that she said? You rely too much on technology, talking about his hearing aid,
right.
and
Hey, in Eternals, didn't Icarus make the same mistake when he was trying to speak the language to
yes,
Cersei?
yes,
Did he say something about cookies too?
I think so. I
I
don't
think
know
so.
what is it, IST?
I can't remember what he said, but you're right. He said something that was just
Yeah, he
ridiculous.
mistranslated something. So yeah, yep. So I don't know. Something about cookies in the MCU? Maybe.
Like dragons.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that you might have a point about the dragons, but I'm almost scared to go there because then nothing's gonna happen. We're gonna be like, you know what? Then we're gonna be like you, just not theorizing and
See,
bitter.
but see,
I
it,
will always expose and theorize and throw my platitudes out there because
I
I am
hate to
not
go
afraid of
back.
failure.
I hate to go back to dragons, but Mike, you missed a perfect opportunity to bring in um, Danny Rand, of course, another
I
dragon.
should have. You're right.
You-
You're 100%
Yeah.
right. I should have.
So
Yeah,
Danny
because
Rand confirmed, Iron Fist confirmed, which confirms Luke Cage.
Luke Cage as the little boy who got thrown down. Yes, it's everybody's in it. We just gotta
Everybody's
find Jessica
confirmed.
Jones now.
Right.
Well, I mean, there's rumors out there that they're bringing these people into the MCU.
In,
Um,
into the fold. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
that would be great. That would give us maybe another 10 years worth of MCU movies, which I wouldn't complain about.
no, not at all. This would be
But
awesome.
they have to do it right though. They have to have Luke and Jessica married, and they have to have the kid. So if you're gonna do it the right way.
Well, see, do it that way, then they have to do Dark Avengers first.
True, and then they would also have to make sure that Luke is the leader of the Avengers too.
Right.
We're spiraling out of control. My bad.
This is how this is how things
Look, we're
go.
the
I mean,
we're the TVA, and the timeline is starting to break. We're going into
yeah,
all these different things. So yes,
yeah, we're all variants here, except for Anthony. Anthony is actually here to shock us back into
the sacred
compliance
timeline.
That's
before
right.
we go out of
A47. We need to get everything straight.
so we don't cross the threshold. Yeah, I got you.
Yes, let's not do that. I expect Clint to have better skills at hot wiring a car than he did in this episode. That took way too long. Way too long. For
Yeah.
everything that they just did, he should have just took the cherry red beautiful.
If I'm not mistaken, Lori, is that the car that didn't he have a car like that in the comics?
Yes,
Who,
Yes,
Hawkeye?
similar
that's what
to it.
was significant about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like there was a car like almost exactly like that he drove.
Mm, okay.
But I mean, the amount of disrespect shown to the Chrysler New Yorker, one of the things that rivaled Cadillac back in the day. That is a glorious, long, beautiful brown car, and y'all are gonna. And they're like, no, man, let's get this piece of crap. No, we can't do anything with that beautiful car. Let's get this piece of crap. That was a gorgeous, well-made car. I would drive that car today.
Not only that, that was a gorgeous, well-made scene. That whole scene in the
One
car
shot.
with the
Yeah.
360 camera angles, and
Hmm.
that was beautiful.
That was
I
very.
was gonna
That's
say
a.
this is about one of the best car chase scenes I've ever seen.
Yes.
It was
I
awesome.
mean, if it doesn't go on like a top 10 list, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
It's
It's
clearly an epic car chase scene.
It
And
was
also that's
beautiful.
the second one shot scene that they've done in 3 episodes in this show. Because the first one was when the Chitauri were invading. That was a one shot scene where she was walking down the steps and explosions were around her. That was all done in one shot. Like
Okay.
a lot of that was done in one shot. And this car scene, like a lot of the first part of it was done in one shot. So they're I mean, their cinematography is on point. I'm really enjoying how they're shooting this.
Yeah. And Anthony, you were right. That is the same penthouse.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. Because when they go to the penthouse at the end, they actually show that shot of the staircase coming down right before you see them come off the elevator. I was like, oh, that is the same penthouse. It's the very, same window that she was coming down
Mhm.
Hmm.
when the Chitauri were attacking. So yeah, it is the same place. So I guess they rebuilt it. I mean, me, I wouldn't have wanted to stay there after a hole was put in and my so-called husband was, you know, killed in that quote unquote attack. But
unless unless
I mean,
the attack.
she rebuilds clock towers, so and bell towers. So
yeah, but she
I
was
patching a
mean,
hole
using
in the
the
roof is
protection to
nothing.
not, well, yeah. I was
I
gonna
mean,
say,
if her husband was killed, it's one thing. If she killed her husband, it's different.
I know. Still, that's just weird to me. But I mean, we'll get into her another time because thankfully we didn't have to deal with Mama and the weird fiance in this episode. But let's talk about this car chase because okay, we talk about the camera shots and the 361 shot. Um, I like Clint's arrows, like all of his arrows in the MCU while he was fighting, they're all like serious stuff. To see this purple ooze or purple Play-Doh, like she said, I was like, this is so weird, but I like it because again, one of the things I like about Clint's character is that I feel like he has a very dry sense of humor. Like he's not that he doesn't go for that obvious joke or that obvious ha ha booming laugh. He like tells things very dry and it's very funny. And I just feel like those arrows, you know, him trying to go through the arrows when he was like, okay, no, not that one, no, nothing too dangerous. She was like, excuse me, what do you mean nothing too oh no, not this one either. And he's driving and weaving in and out of traffic the whole time, but he's worried about his precious arrows that he doesn't want her to shoot because they may be too dangerous for her because again, at this point he hasn't really seen as much of her archery skills as we've seen of his. So him going
And
through
I'm
all of
like
this,
you. I thought that was funny. Pulling out, not this one, not this one. Nope,
I
definitely
loved
not
it.
this one.
I loved
I
it.
loved it.
I loved it. And then she's sitting there, she's fussing. She was like, what's the purpose of a plunger arrow? Like I was sitting there looking too, like, yeah, what is the purpose of that? And then when he used it to stick on the train, I was like, oh, that's what that's for. You know, it's like it has a suction cup at the end. But I mean, his arrows, he's got, you know, she shoots one that puts out like this purple gas or this purple smoke, and the other one that, you know, oh, can we talk? Okay, the Pym arrow.
Yeah, I caught that. I was like,
Man, yes,
what?
sir.
I rewound that. I was like, hold up. My daughter said, it says PYM. I said, what are you doing with a Pym arrow? And I was getting mad at first, but then I had to say, I said, hold up, Hanako. Hank Pym in the MCU is different from Hank Pym in the What If. He wasn't trying to kill you.
Right.
To get out of that headspace because I'm still in my fuck Hank Pym mode right now. And I'm looking at the arrow. I was like, what the I was like, oh, wait. Hank Pym was actually a decent person. Okay, okay. He wasn't trying to kill all the Avengers. Okay, because I was about to be triggered. But this shot where he's instructing her, he's telling her, you know, to aim high, and she shoots this arrow, and then he shoots his Pym arrow, and it hits her arrow, tilts it, and it expands. I was like, what? And by the time it hits the SVU, it's like
The SUV.
what did I say?
That's for you.
We do it all the time in this household because we watch that show and yeah,
Dong.
Oh, so
yeah.
it went by the time it hits the SUV, this thing is like 20 feet tall and about 10 feet wide. I was like, wait, what? Then I was like, oh, he made it like an ant, like, you know, it has the same you know,
The
features as
Pym
I was
particles.
like, yeah, the Pym
Hmm.
particles. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I know they're all sitting there like, what the hell just hit us? What's going like they just had arrows and so and then the you know at the end when they have to jump off the bridge and they both do that turn and grab the arrow, I thought that that was really cool because we have to remember that was what she remembers of him, like that's the whole thing that he was doing when she saw him, like, okay, I need a bow and arrow. And when he became
Hmm.
her hero was when he was jumping off of that building shooting at Chitari, and then you know he has his little grappling hook arrow and he swings under. So the fact that she got to do that with him was really cool. I appreciated that moment. I was like, oh, that's one of those moments where it's like, you know, I would excuse the overexcited college person, like, oh my God, did you see that? Yeah, I would totally expect it for that scene because it was a cool scene. Like, how often do you get to do a move like that with the person that you idolize or that you think of as your hero? So I
Right.
thought that was cool. And then the scene in the train where she's telling him, "Should probably go feed the dog." He's been cooped up all day and he can't hear a word she says. But then he turns around and regurgitates the same thing to her after after they have that conversation. Again, I like
After
this.
after he tells her that she probably is one of the best archers in the world.
Did you see her face? She was
Yeah,
like,
she was like,
she was like, did he really just say that to me? Yeah. So I
and then he
like
said,
that
"Yep,
scene.
yeah, that was awesome." Yeah, because it's like I was kind of wondering. I was like, wait, how'd they get in the subway car? Because they were just outside. Did someone let them in, or?
I mean, they probably stopped at a station, just kind of swung on in and sat down. I mean, it's New York. New Yorkers probably won't. They probably would have looked at like, oh, okay, what are they doing here? I
Okay.
mean, this is the city that had Chitari flying through it, knocking down buildings and shutting shit down. So, two
Yeah, and
archers kind of,
now there's a 20-foot arrow in the middle of a bridge.
right.
Yeah.
It's just another
There's
day.
probably something like, "Who's gonna clean this up?" Hey.
You know what? They probably have a special fund for that. They have to. Think about all the stuff that happened there. They have to. They have to.
Yeah.
I
Insurance.
really feel like our real life New York probably has an emergency fund just in case some shit like that pops off. Like, you know what? We know that superheroes and all this stuff aren't real, but just in case, let's put a little money to the side because think about it. Every disaster movie ever, where do the disasters start? New York. When
Yep.
the aliens attack, where did they attack first? Is it going to be Washington D.C. or New York? One of the two. So yeah,
Yep. What always gets destroyed? Statue of Liberty.
they got a slush fund somewhere for that. They do. They have to at this point. But yeah, so right around this scene, the car chase scene when they're doing that, and like I said, she's showing off her skills and she's she's still being talky, kind of like, Anthony, you had the Spider-Man comparison in the last episode. So she was kind of like Peter Parker in this, like, okay, she's
Mhm.
talking because she's over talking because she's nervous, but she was doing what she was supposed to do. And so that's when I was like, okay, maybe her character isn't as bad. And then, like later on in the episode, she starts talking again and she's going a mile a minute. She's doing this thing. And then Clint picks up he picks up his hearing aid and puts it in his ear. She was like, "Was that out the whole time?" And he just looks at her like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I was like, "Okay." So yeah, couldn't I'm starting to like their dynamic a little bit more. Also because I think I think Clint also realizes that she's kind of in over her head. Like 2 days ago, she was a regular college student who was being reprimanded because she destroyed a clock tower. And now she's got like mafia type people gunning for her, and this is not something she expected. So I think there's a little bit like where she was way up here in the first two episodes and he was kind of way down here. I think they're starting to kind of sort of meet in the middle a little bit as far as how they interact with each other and also their level of, okay, you know what, let me put myself in her shoes for a minute, or let me put myself in his shoes for a minute and just kind of make it so this isn't so hard. Look, let's get whatever this is done so I can go back to my life and he can go back to his life, and that sort of thing. But her drawing the Hawkeye suit was cute. But I was like, how she draw that so fast? Like, is she a good artist too? Is she just perfect at everything? Is that what we are? So that
I
was
mean,
cute.
it's a great throwback to the classic suit that he always wore in the comics too,
Hmm.
like with the cat eyes and all that other stuff.
But I
I
agree
was,
with him. Laura would divorce him if he wore that suit. Because I
mhm.
can I can
Right.
see her right now. She's like, honey, no, no. Or better yet, can you imagine the kids ribbing him about that suit? Like really bad with the eyes, like the mask. Don't you
Yeah,
think it's
I can
don't you think
100%
it's a
see
bit
that.
much? Yeah.
Well,
But
you have to understand that the comic book Clint, he started out in a circus, so it was sort of put together from a circus costume.
I think I
in the
do remember
beginning.
you saying that.
And
Yeah.
and he also was a little bit of a thief too. So yeah, so that was a good thing. Right. I actually like that. The other thing is because I'm a nerd, is that in that scene and one scene before, if you look at her, the way that they shot her, her hair is exactly the way it is in the comic book, which I sort of had a geek out moment because she was known for that hairstyle. The other thing is, I don't know if you guys mentioned it, but last the second episode, the opening credits was basically all David Aja artwork.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was
I
beautiful.
didn't catch
I
that.
love the opening credit. Like this show has one of the best opening credit sequences that I've seen. I love it.
Well, if you look at it, every single credit that we've seen is taken from a certain Hawkeye comic book cover font style run. So, like this one is from a series. Last week was David Aja and them. Yeah, so they're taking the covers and the colors and they're putting them into the opener, which I thought was actually kind of cool.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about that is just seeing some of the stuff on social media from what I understand, and I know this is like a big thing with Marvel and comic creators in general. I don't think the original comic creators and illustrators for those issues, I don't think they're being credited for their work that's being used in this show and for the
Yeah.
marketing campaign. So I do have a problem with that, but that's a whole other conversation. But it is beautiful artwork. And like I said, it's one of the best opening. They have some of the best opening sequences on the shows that I've seen so far. So, yeah, there's that. Um, let's see what else. It's a good thing they call you Hawkeye instead of Hawk
The
Ear.
hawk ear.
Corny.
Yes, I laughed my ass off at that.
I was just like, and then his laugh. He has one of the funny, like he has a weird laugh, but it's funny. So he was like, yeah, yeah, whatever. I think it's cute.
He's
We got to see
awesome.
a little bit more Pizza Dog or whatever his name is. I know his name is
The
Lucky, but
dog of pizza.
yes, the dog of pizza. He's not Lucky yet, so I'm still gonna call him Pizza Dog from the last episode. So we did get to see a little bit more of him. Um, so tell me,
Hold on. But
uh,
before I had to take a moment because I just realized the boy's name was Nathaniel, named
Hmm.
after Natalie. Did they mention that in Age of Ultron? Because she was
Yes.
pregnant in Age of Ultron. Okay.
yes,
I couldn't remember.
because his name is actually Nathaniel Pietro or
Okay.
Nathaniel Peter. So he's named after Nat and after Pietro.
Okay.
So
I
yeah,
wasn't
they
sure.
showed it. I think it was at the end of Age of Ultron. They were doing a video chat and they had his name on the shirt and Nat was looking at him. She was like fat because he was a little fat baby. So yeah, they mentioned it. So
Fat
because I
Nat.
think when they thought she was going to be a girl, she was supposed to be named after Natalie. Because that's like one of my favorite scenes from that movie when because I don't think people pay attention to it. You know, I mentioned in the last episode we were talking about the healthy relationship between Clint and his wife, and you know how Natasha and Laura were also friends and stuff. There's the point where after Clint greets her, you know, after he's brought the Avengers home and the kids are coming to Clint, one of them, I'm not sure which one, it was either Natalie or it was Laura, when they approach each other, one of them says to the other, I missed you. I really missed you. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And then that's when Nat was like, so how's how's little I don't remember if they were gonna call her Natalie too. And she was like, she's a he. And that's when she bent down. She was like traitor, but cute moment. So yeah, we did
Yeah.
see that he was named after her in Age of Ultron. So um let's see. I guess the only thing really left in this episode is him telling her a little bit about Ronin. I think they were walking in the park and she was talking about the tension between Kazi and Maya. And so she was asking him
Right.
about Tracksuit Mafia. And so he told her a little bit, and I was like, okay, this is where you kind of start to see the dynamic shift between them, because now instead of her being an annoying kid and him treating her like an annoying kid, she's asking, a serious question. And he was like, at first he wasn't going to tell her, and then he starts to tell her, and she actually listens to him. So I was like, okay, she's paying attention. Like she's knowing, like, okay, we're in some deep stuff, and until we get this done, I can't go back to my life. You can't go home. Let's get this, let's get this fixed. She was like, and then she starts talking about um the fact that she was focused on Jack and Armand. And then she was like, well, do you think one has to do with the other? Because of course they were at an illegal auction. And, he said something about the fact that, it's weird, or it's kind of strange to think about things floating around from the Avengers compound out there. Like, we know that there's a watch that was important to whoever burst through um at the black market auction. So if the watch is that important, what else is there that hasn't been secured? And excuse me, why is that watch floating around anyway? I would think that, well, maybe not Shield, but even Sword would have gone in and taken all of that stuff at this point. Somebody should have gotten it. I just, I don't know. Even going back to the other shows like the WandaVisions and whatever, I don't see Director Dick letting all of the Avengers compound stuff just float around. Right?
Right. No, not at all.
I
Unless it
think maybe
benefits them some way.
they thought it was all destroyed, like it was all wrecked.
I,
And then
Unless somehow it benefits them else.
how hard it would have been for people to go back there, considering that's where Tony Stark died. I'm sure none of these guys wanted to go back there.
Right.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. All right, I'll excuse it because I'm just like, I don't, I don't know. I mean, they went and stole they went and stole Vision's body. So if they can go and steal that, y'all could have. I don't know, something about that watch being out there, and even Ronin stuff just kind of being out there to where people were actually able to grab it without it being like, I don't know, but
I
Then
mean,
again,
it's
maybe they got the important stuff. Like maybe they got the things like Tony's all of Tony's stuff they probably got, Bruce's stuff they probably got. Like, who cares about some $2 million watch that Tony wore?
well, I
I
mean,
mean,
it's a
that's
Tony's. If it's Tony's watch, that $2 million watch might be more than just a $2 million watch.
I,
Think about
I,
it.
I
If
don't know. And
Tony,
then a sword and a ninja suit.
yeah, but I mean, because didn't wasn't one of Tony's watches one of the ways that he suited up? Like, he had all these different
yeah,
Yeah,
upgrades.
it was in
it
Civil War.
was.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you don't just leave that kind of stuff floating around. But I guess we'll find out more about it because I mean, it was obviously important for a reason.
Also,
For that
it's kind of a
to
throwback to Spider-Man Homecoming and the Vulture, Adrian Toomes, like how his whole business model was going back and was like doing as just after the Chitauri invasion, he went back and scavenged and found things that he sold like on the
right.
black market and all this other stuff too. So it's kind of a throwback to that too.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm just thinking, with it being Avengers compound and with it being Tony stuff, I would think that,
Yeah.
especially like maybe, and of course she could have been grief stricken. Pepper, you would think that Pepper would be a little bit more meticulous about finding things of his that might be missing. But again, we
I
don't know we don't know who the watch belongs to, so we don't know exactly how important it is or why they want it in the first place.
I think Mike is onto something because what Toombs was doing, he was cleaning up, but as he was cleaning up, he was swiping things. So it's possible that people were cleaning up their area
Mm,
and taking the little things that
okay.
they could
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and then
Okay.
selling
Plus,
it on the
I
black
mean,
market.
everybody was kind of busy with their own thing, like at first, It's like, Pepper's grieving, Cap's going worried about going back in time trying to get with Peggy again. And it's like everybody kind of had their thing going on. So it's like nobody was really thinking about that.
Right.
Yeah, except the people that are in there cleaning up and they see, oh look, you gotta take
Exactly. But it's like,
this,
but no one's
I'll
really
take
paying attention to them.
this.
So they're
Right.
like, you know what? I'm just gonna slide this into my bag and nobody's gonna really see me.
Just
And
like how the firefighters stole the Ronin suit in the midst of a
exactly.
fire. This is the same
So he
way.
could go LARP.
Right.
Sure. I'm
That's
grills, baby.
mm, mm, mm. So the final scene is of them going to sneaking into Eleanor Bishop's penthouse and trying to find some information on the Tracksuit Mafia and trying to figure out who the big boss is that they're working for. And of course, while Kate is doing that, you hear somebody come into the penthouse, and obviously I think Clint hears it too, because again, he has his hearing aid in. So he kind of walks slowly through the foyer and comes into contact. Was that his own sword? Was that the Ronin sword that
That
Jack
was
Yep.
the
was
Ronin
holding?
sword.
So,
Hmm.
he comes in and the Ronin sword is at his throat and it's Jack, like holding the sword at Clint. And I was just like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And then, of course, the show goes off. But I'm I think they're moving this story kind of fast. We talked about it last episode. There's only 6 episodes to this show. We're already halfway through now. We've only
Hmm.
got three
Three
more
more.
episodes to go. And so that means, we've got at least 2 episodes that's going to have post credit scenes, hopefully, you know.
Right.
But
It was
when
still
they
The
gonna have
last one's gonna.
Yelena.
hmm,
Yep. Elena's got to show up.
I need y'all, I need her to show up like next episode. I need to see my girl. So, but I don't quite want her to fight Kate anymore. Because Kate, like I said, she's not that irritating to me now. So I don't want Yelena to like just whoop her ass. I do want to see what that dynamic would be. It's like it literally would be like Natasha and Clint 2.0. So yeah, I'm curious to see what that dynamic would be like. But yes, go on ahead and bring Yelena into all of this. Yes. And I do kind of want to
And
see this notorious uncle. I just want to get a glimpse of his face.
Uncle
Notorious
Wilson.
FISK.
Yeah.
Uncle Wilson.
So
I I can't wait. I really want to see it because I think that because it's because of what D'Onofrio posted on Twitter, like about the show, and then everybody was like,
what did he
I
post?
mean,
What did he post?
no, he just posted like, oh, it was something kind of off the cuff, but it
Oh,
was he wasn't saying guess who's going to be on the show. He was just saying, oh, it's going to be a good show, but it's like
oh, that's
it was just
usually a dead giveaway.
it, yeah, it was dripping with guess who's going to be on the last episode. Yeah, like
Yeah,
okay, that's fine. Just
that
hurry up.
okay.
There's a
Yeah.
scene in Daredevil where he's going up against Deborah Wall's character, Karen Page, and they're in this area, and he gets where he's not going to snap, and then all of a sudden he snaps and he almost kills her, but he stops himself. Pure Wilson Fisk. I'm not going to say the other name. It
Okay,
was beautiful.
so let me tell you, I didn't finish watching that show. Like I only got a few episodes in. Like I really need to go and watch the Netflix Marvel shows because I just like Luke Cage. I only did the first season. I recently I know. I know. I'm gonna go and catch up. There was a lot going on. And I just recently watched the first season of The Punisher. So I only got a few episodes into Daredevil, and I think the last episode that I watched was um when he smashed the guy's head in his limo. I think that was
Mm,
like maybe episode 3 or 4.
all
But I
right.
was looking at that because when you see him through those first few episodes, he's very smooth, he's very calm, very quiet. And
Mhm.
then you see this scene where he gets enraged and he literally makes crushed watermelon out of this guy's head.
Hmm,
And
hmm.
I was
He
just like,
decapitates the guy with the limo door. Yes,
Yeah, pretty much.
I
Yeah,
was.
and
yeah.
he's pretty
Yeah,
much like that the whole series.
He's perfect.
He
He
has those
I
moments
mean,
mm,
he's
of
perfect
pure
in pretty
rage.
much everything he does anyway. So,
He posted on Twitter, he posted, "This is going to be fun. I love these Marvel series." That's
okay.
what he
oh
posted.
yeah.
Okay.
dripping with.
That was definitely his voice that we heard
That's
laughing then in this episode.
it's
Definitely.
just it's just dripping with. I'm going to be on there, but I'm not going to say I'm on there because Kevin Feige would actually kill me, literally.
But no, if you get a chance, go back and watch those Netflix Marvel series, especially the 8-part Defenders that they did together.
Okay.
And Jessica Jones is also excellent. When Hellcat finally shows up, oh my god, it is
Yeah,
so
I
good.
think I watched a few episodes of Jessica Jones too, but I didn't get through that first season either. So yeah, I do need to
David,
go back and watch it, but it's just there's so much good
I
stuff on.
know, but you need to see David Tennant as the Purple Man.
Oh, I saw one episode. I think I saw the reveal episode of him, and I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
oh yeah,
It was badass.
I was
All,
looking
oh
at the episode like,
I still feel
what?
robbed that I didn't get my Misty Knight series
you and me
because
both.
it was gonna be because she finally got her bionic arm from Rand Industries and it was like perfectly set up. I was like, this is gonna
You
be
know,
awesome.
yeah. My husband says I have a problem because I actually cheered when they cut her arm off. I was like, yes, she lost her arm. And he's like, what's wrong with you?
Well, I mean, she was supposed to lose her arm. That's not
I
really
know.
the
Why
no.
was this happening? They
I
finally did.
understand. I totally get that. I would have
Oh
cheered. I
yeah,
think I cheered a little bit too.
yeah.
I was like, are they gonna cut her arm? I was like, oh, they cut her. Oh, cool. They cut her arm off. Like,
But
wait.
In stark contrast to watching Captain Marvel waiting for something to happen in Nick Fury's eye. And then
oh,
it's just a cat scratch. You're
oh,
like,
oh, oh, you
wow.
Hey,
look.
it was a flirkin scratch. That's different.
That's a
Like,
whole different story. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
See,
Okay.
my husband collects Nick Fury stuff, and uh, let's just say he was not happy. Let's just say at the end of that movie, he was not
I don't
happy.
think anybody was. I mean, it was a kind of a letdown for me too. I was like, well, why? Because I could tell the way he was holding him, like in the spaceship, he was holding him like right there at his eye, and I
Right.
was like, are they going to have him scratch his eye? Like, are you kidding me? Like, really? Like,
It was not the best movie. I will say that. I've only watched it like 1.5 times.
I watched like 3 times.
Same. I
It's
think
in it's
I am
it's
gonna.
it's in midsection for me.
It's it was missing something. But getting back to the Hawkeye thing, um, I think that the mother and the fiance, I think that they're involved with something a lot deeper than we currently see. I think that the mother might possibly be a criminal. Definitely the fiance is up to something, especially when his uncle said, you don't have X amount of money to buy what you're trying to buy. I think that the mother possibly did kill the father, and the charge just showed up and it covered it up. I believe that Kate, once she really gets into really sitting and taking and looking at the company, she's going to find a lot of weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
I just think it was shady. But at the same time, I think that it would be cool. I know they won't do it if Clint's kids like show up in an episode, like help save the day or something, like baby, Hawkeyes and Avengers. That'd be cool. Um, but all in all, I really liked this episode. It was a lot better. It was fun. Like I said, I was watching it while I was working today, so I couldn't really, give it all my attention. So I'm kind of rewatching it now, but it was not bad.
I enjoyed it. I love the action. Like I said, that car chase scene was just chef's kiss,
Oh,
as Mike says. Yes, it
yes,
was
it
a
was it
great
was
scene.
outstanding.
And
Yeah,
like I said, I'm starting to feel a little bit better about Kate's character. I'm not gonna say I'm a fan of hers yet, but she doesn't annoy me as much as she did in the first two episodes. And like I said, if you guys go listen to that podcast episode, you can probably make a drinking game out of the number of times that I said that she bothered me. So yeah, so I enjoy
and
her a little bit better.
if you combine that with how many times they say bro in Hawkeye, then you'll just
Bro.
get entirely shit faced drunk. Then you'll never remember anything else ever again. Um, real quick, shout out to KB Toys making his cameo appearance.
I saw
And
that. I was like, oh look.
everybody, all the listeners out there, if you're not old enough to remember KB Toys, I'm so sorry, because KB Toys was awesome. They were usually in the mall,
Yep.
and it's where if kids were, because I remember when my boys were little, and I was like, if y'all are good, we'll go in there and we'll get you something. So it's like you had to make them be good so that you can walk them through KB while you were looking for PlayStation 1 games. They could go get a car or something, and it's like that was awesome. I'm glad they did a little shout out to that. Plus it still had plush toys in it. I'm like, really?
Okay, when she threw that unicorn at him.
I have expected Deadpool to be like, hey, that's mine. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome.
I would have been pausing my TV and I would have been calling Mike like, do you see this? Do you see this? It would have been equivalent to Howard the Duck showing up in What If.
Basically, yeah. Speaking of What If, another shout out to the USB Arrow making his cameo appearance as well.
Yes, that was the Arrow. That was the Arrow. I was like, I knew exactly what Arrow was.
He was like, a USB Arrow? What am I going to shoot with this? I was like, where's Ultron?
It took me a minute because I was like, where have I seen that before? Like, it didn't click because I wasn't thinking animated series, which is
I was going to bring that up.
Which is weird.
That was perfect.
It was perfect. At him, but I was like,
oh man,
gonna just give her what is she gonna do? Like, the arrow is gone now, right? So I mean, they probably can't do anything with it anyway. He's probably like, why the hell do I have this? So that's something Watu just kind of snuck into this.
I know. I expect to see the Watcher looking over the bridge, looking around the World Trade, around the Trade Center, like, got it.
Nailed it.
The only arrow that they didn't pull out, which I would have loved to have seen it have done, is that on DC side, Green Arrow has a punching bag arrow, which is basically a boxer's glove.
Oh, the boxing glove arrow.
I would have loved to see that.
I think there's actually one in the Deadpool and Hawkeye did a crossover. I think that he actually had one like that.
Yes, yeah, I think you're right too. Yeah, but I love trick arrows, so I was there. Okay, they got this one, click this one, got that one. I was marking them off because I was like, oh, this is awesome.
That was so much fun. I was like, we see all the serious stuff. I never expected to see a little purple bubbly arrow just kind of explode and be over there. I was like, where did that come from? And why? Like, I'm noticing a lot of purple in this series. There's a lot of
suit.
Yeah, suit.
That's his color.
Okay. So I enjoyed this episode. Yeah. So again, only 3 episodes left already. It's like, didn't this thing just start?
It's only 6 episodes.
Only 6 episodes.
Yeah, only 6 episodes. Well, see, that's because they did the first 2 together. Like, if they would have just done 1 episode, then we would have been a little bit more spaced out. But now we basically have 5 instead of 6, basically.
So basically, they're getting shorter. The series are getting shorter.
Well, let me see.
Not necessarily.
Because Loki was what? 8 episodes. What If was 9. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was
about 6.
That was 6.
6.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So,
okay. Yeah. It just seems like it was longer. But like you said, they put 2 out, so.
Yeah. So at this rate, we'll be done with this series right before Christmas. Which means that we'll have another lull because let's see.
Nothing's really coming out.
On Disney Plus. I don't know when the next series is. We'll have that information before we record the next show. But so any final thoughts on Hawkeye episode 3?
I think it's pretty good. The show is called Hawkeye. And I'm trying not to look at it as like an origin story for the next Hawkeye, which will be Kate. And it sort of kind of feels like that. And I know Mike talked about her relationship to the Young Avengers. Like, maybe she'll be the one who will be the leader. So this will be like her education and becoming, a different person.
Right.
Not a different person, but a more mature Kate who will be able to run a group.
Right.
I hope so, because Elijah isn't going to put up with her being a brat. I'm just saying.
Well, we don't know how he's going to be. We
Well,
we saw a little bit of his
yeah.
snarkiness, and
I was gonna say that's the boy that was raised by Isaiah Bradley.
We saw a little bit.
This.
He's not,
Right.
but he's
But see,
not going to be in shape to lead.
We're getting ahead of ourselves with Young Avengers because Wanda still hasn't gotten her sons back yet. So
wait a second. You're saying we're getting ahead of ourselves? Did you literally say that?
I'm literally stating facts because Wanda's two sons are not back yet, and they're integral members of the Young Avengers. So we have to wait until at least after Multiverse of Madness.
I can't believe you're trying to be the voice of reason.
That's me.
Really.
And we need
it happens
Cassie
every now and then.
We also need Cassie too.
That's true. We need Stature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Quantum Mania is coming out next year, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it may be a little bit sooner rather than later. But yeah, okay. But yeah, I think Mike is good to, tell us to we have to be patient. Because other than that, we're going to sit here like, oh my God, when is this going to come out? And they're doing this. And yeah, we're going to be.
Well, we know Miss Marvel is coming. We know Riri is coming. I mean,
it's true.
They've been confirmed. So Mike, really?
Okay, they've been confirmed, but Wiccan and Speed aren't back yet. So it's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Now I will say this episode did get me excited to see whatever they're gonna do with the Echo series. Because
Echo's gonna be a badass series.
Just seeing her origin story, and we only got a little bit of it. So again, I don't know what they're going to do with the series. I haven't heard anything about a premise, but I'm sure they're probably keeping that under wraps because it will probably have to do with something with whatever happens in this series. So, but I'm excited to see it. Like I said, I had never even heard of that character up until they announced the show, and then for her to like immediately come into this series, and she's only been in this episode she was pretty much half this episode and like a few seconds in the last episode, and she already has a very huge presence in this in this world. So I'm really excited to see.
I think I know they're not talking about it, but I think it's going to be a weird blend of Daredevil and Elektra. I think it's going to be along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, I guess
I think it's gonna be it'll be interesting to see how because they've already said they're bringing back Daredevil, like they're gonna try to do that's already out there that they're getting ready to bring that back. It's like, but Echo definitely has. I mean, like we've established, there's definitely a link to Kingpin in there, so it's like you kind of have to figure out like what steps they're going to take or how they're going to balance that out. So it'll be. I can't wait to see it. Like I can't wait to see when Kingpin steps out, or because it's just even if it's, I just want to see it so badly. See, this is me
Let's
being
not get ahead of ourselves.
Patience.
I'm getting ahead of myself on this. I'm over my skis, Anthony. It's too late. I am way over my skis on this. I'm way beyond help. I can't be helped. I'm sorry.
Patience.
Nope. Gimme.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm ready to see him appear because I'm sorry that was his voice. We know it's coming, so I'm ready to see. I'm not gonna overhype myself because it could be.
There's no one else it could be.
Well, I know, but here's the thing. I don't want to really get too excited because it could be that we heard his voice in this episode and we may not see him again until the Echo show comes out. And Anthony, for those of y'all who are only listening and not watching this, Anthony's sitting here with his cup of tea like, it ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen. You'll see he'll be in Echo. You won't see him in this series.
We got 3 episodes to prove you wrong.
If we see him, it's probably going to be in the.
That could be a possibility.
That's fine. That's all I need. I'll take that. I'm not expecting him to show up and start fighting Clint. I mean,
Yeah.
no, I'm not expecting that.
But an end credit scene will be okay.
End credit scene would be outstanding with with someone calling him for Echo because Echo can't obviously use the phone because she's deaf.
Right.
So it's like you have Kazi calling him because also I'm wondering if they're going to give because in the comics, if I'm not mistaken, Kazi is usually has clown makeup on,
Yeah, you said that in the last
Mhm.
episode. Mm-hmm.
but he's just been kind of like straight laced and a cutie as according to Kate too because Kate's kind of like looking at him with lustful eyes too.
Well, maybe this is his origin story as well. This is him before the clown makeup comes.
Maybe.
Maybe he got damaged, or maybe something happened during that car scene, or something's gonna happen to him in this, and
He
he's gonna
he
pull a
fell
whole
he
Jack.
fell into a vat of acid.
I see, great minds. That's where I was going with this.
Or maybe his face got smashed up like your boy Jigsaw.
Or
Mm,
the Joker.
yeah, so
There
we'll
are lots of
see.
origin stories that can happen.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's such a clown that Kingpin got a tattoo gun and just permanently tattooed a clown face on him. Since you want to be a clown, I'm gonna make you a clown.
And on that note, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. Listen to the Fandom Hybrid podcast on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.